What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another New York Giants video. Right now, y'all can hear me out, so just let me know I'm on mute. I'm gonna unmute myself there in just a second. How y'all doing? Welcome back to another Just Kidding podcast. Shout out to Hazelnut in the chat, Silver Party, Super Taj World. As you're tuning in, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and share out the stream. I know there's quite a few streams going on tonight. Tomorrow night will be, of course, Young Guns podcast will be back on my channel with Kid Blue. May or may not have a couple of special guests. There's still some things in the works. And, of course, go down into the description below. Make sure you click on Alex's channel, Big Blue in the Bronx. Make sure you follow him for some great Yankees content, Giants content. He got you covered. And with the Boys in the Big Apple podcast as well. So let me go ahead and mute myself there. And go ahead, Alex. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, everybody? Me and Kush had a fun day at training camp. A lot of fun there, a lot of takeaways. Even met somebody in the process. So very fun day overall. Obviously, FanFest is Friday, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And even after that, I'll be attending Tuesday's practice on next week. So a lot more to come. Very excited that football's back.
Yeah, speaking of Tuesday's practice, I am most likely, I'm free that Tuesday. So I am going to be once again at practice on Tuesday. This is as good a time as any to let you all know. Unfortunately, not sure if I'll be able to make FanFest. I had my schedules mixed up for some reason, and there's not really anybody to blame but me. For some reason, I thought that FanFest was on Saturday when it's actually this Friday. I can't go. At least as of right now, I don't know, because obviously I work Fridays. And I listen, I know I'm to blame, but the Giants are too. What's with them picking these weird weekdays to hold these events? Last year it was on a Wednesday, which I'm sure was weird for a lot of people. And this year it's on a Friday. Just move it to the weekend, man. It's more convenient for a lot of people. Shout out to Giants 1995, Island Boy in the chat as well. Yeah, we had a good time actually, man. The NJ Transit was here early. Actually, it was a little bit late when we went. Was super early when we were trying to come back. Hence we had to film a little recap video on Bryant Park. It would have been nice if we could actually stuck in the parking lot a bit longer, filmed it right in front of MetLife, and probably no type of background noise and whatnot. But overall, Alex, how'd you feel about the training camp day, man? I guess before we get into specifics, not sure if you have your notes with you there. He was taking notes as we were watching and observing. You could probably go over a little bit of talking points, but first, your general thoughts.
Yeah, a very interesting day, of course, and I know a lot of people were obviously down on Daniel Jones based off of yesterday. And other than 2 picks, maybe another throw, I thought he looked very good. Obviously, we discussed in our recap video that the offensive line for the second and third teams weren't very good, and it wasn't even just blitzing. But towards the end, it got repetitive, and they started calling sacks. So the defensive line is a position to watch with all the guys competing for that edge rush room like Tamon Fox, Nico Lalos, O'Shane Zimenez, Quincy Roche, Ellerson Smith. And then I also view center as a very much open spot because, well, Jonathan Feliciano in practice today, and Jamil Douglas didn't play center today for the first team, and he's been, not too good in that specific area. And Lemieux on it, I'm surprised he didn't get some shots at center. So it's kind of like an open competition right now. But we do need 5 competent starters. We also need 5 competent depth players.
Yo, shout out to Dr. Drake Ramaray. He's in the chat. That's the guy that we met today. The fan that was with us all along the way. It was actually pretty nice. I met that guy at the bus stop, and it was nice to just kind of be there with somebody else as well. It was overall, it's a pretty good experience. Shout out to Bavit as well in here. Timothy Firth. I'm with you. Offensive line was some. I looked at Ben Bredesen was the guy that got most of the first team snaps today. Quick question before I move on. You've been to, what was it, 1 or 2 practices before? How was Feliciano when you saw him at center, if he did play center at those practices?
So the first practice I was at was actually on Thursday, the second day of training camp. I thought the offensive line, at least based on that day, looked good. Nothing too wrong there. Obviously, nothing too much in the running game, and it was only the second day of practice. But I thought he played well. I thought he played well overall.
Then also, what would be the reason? What do you think it's like a Galladay thing for those of you that don't know? Galladay kind of had like a rest day, I guess you could call it today. Do you think that's probably why Feliciano wasn't really involved at center? Is there an injury that I missed or something with him?
Yeah, it's probably just another hydration thing. Um, that's kind of, I guess, why he was out. He's been dealing with this for a few days now, and Brian Dable hasn't really mentioned anything specific besides that. So he's probably going to be going tomorrow again. In terms of practice, doing center stuff. And we did see him behind the offensive line, behind the offense, giving some tips. So it's not like he's totally, disappeared from the entire, practice, whatever, just standing on the sidelines. He was actually helping out a little bit. But I expect him to be back tomorrow. I think it's just a hydration thing.
Yeah, and then also speaking of I guess guys that were just there, Bobby Johnson was heavily involved in practice today. He was the coach I noticed the most. Had on a sweater. Of course, I noticed him a lot because you could see the sweat marks on his body from like all the way to where we were sitting in the bleachers. Bobby Johnson was heavily involved. Brian Dable as usual. We'll start from the top, which was the very first main drill we saw, which was the one-on-ones, wide receivers, and defensive backs. Go ahead and get into it, man. And yeah, I see you back here, Taj. I'll definitely pop you on in a second too, man.
Yeah, Aaron Robinson looked good. I think one of the main throws also there was the Tony one down the left sideline. David Sills, I believe, hauled one in as well. So overall, great day for the wide receivers, specifically in that drills. And, this is why I say you can't judge too much with camp, because everybody's talking about, well, Darnay Holmes, right? He's had 4 takeaways in camp so far, all this, and that. But he got burnt a couple of times by slot receivers today. I think Austin Prail was one of them. Richie James definitely was one of them. And you also got to see, now, of course, I don't know if, the Giants training camp recap has been published on their
They
YouTube
published a
channel.
highlight video I saw.
Yeah. Um, but they did get a little grabby. That's what we started to notice because of the speed inside. They started getting grabby, and that was pretty much that.
Oh yeah, the grabby thing. There was a couple flags thrown. There were guys straight up holding, hugging the receivers. Not sure if they just couldn't keep up with the speed, like you were saying, especially when it was like a cut to the inside or a slant route. That's how Richie James, I think, got wide open on one of them. Maybe it was like some type of rub route and they were in a zone defense or something. Which did you manage to keep a track of how many times the corners were in zone, how many were in man? Even if you weren't, it's okay. But like I was wondering to myself because of how wide open some of these backup receivers were getting, whether that was the case.
I did not keep track.
Okay, that's all right. Timothy says, "Will the Giants cut Bredesen, Gates, Slayton, and Zimenez?" Um, too early to say, but as of right now, I'd say no, because Bredesen was playing center today for the ones. Gates, I don't even think you're allowed to cut him if he's like in the middle of an injury like that. I could be wrong. Slayton, who we'll get to in a second, actually had a pretty good day today. And Zimenez, I didn't notice him too much today, but I've seen his name pop around in training camp. So yeah, what up, J Dimes? How you doing, man? Let's see here. When it came to the just overall battle, would you agree that the wide receivers sort of had an edge throughout the entire day today?
Yeah. You don't even have to look at just the receptions, and obviously some plays the wide receivers did drop passes, but getting separation was one of the things, and also the speed as well as I touched on. Just had the DBs once again. After a while, they started grabbing. Michael Jacquet was grabbing. Darren Evans was grabbing. So obviously, it's just training camp, and we'll see what happens when it comes to the game time. But the wide receivers definitely had an edge today, and that's not even just on one-on-one drills. Kadarius Toney got open a couple of times. Um, Colin Johnson had a couple of nice catches today. Austin Pearl had a couple of nice catches. So overall, in terms of wide receivers, once again, they had a really nice day out there. And it's not even just the starting wide receivers, and obviously Darius Slayton. Uh, he caught a couple of nice passes, but
He
also if you're
mossed the
trying to
guy.
make, yeah, he did. And then also if you're just trying to make the roster like Austin Pearl, Colin Johnson, they had a couple of nice catches today. So and yes, David Sills is also one of those guys that had a nice day today. So if you want to make the roster, there's going to be a lot of guys trying to make that back end of the roster in terms of wide receivers. It was a good day for them.
It the Richie James name pops up a lot. You brought him up before we even entered camp, before they started camp. and he showed out today. That's a guy that's been sort of putting his name on the map for the team. If he continues to show out like this, I would hope that he does make the roster. And it's not a situation like Alonzo Russell of a couple years ago, another wide receiver that did everything possible in the offseason and preseason to make the team, didn't make the cut. And even before Alonzo Russell, Benny Fowler as well. Like we've had a couple wide receivers in the past that seemed like they were locks to make the team and they just did not. J Dime says if Colin Johnson ends up making the team over Slayton, that would be crazy. I don't think he's going to. I think Slayton is definitely holding his own in camp. What do you say to that?
I definitely agree. I mean, Colin Johnson today was probably his best practice that I've seen in the 3 days that I've been there. I would say Slayton has also had the best day, but from what I've seen just overall in the highlights and all that stuff, I think Slayton has definitely gotten the upper hand right now. And I just feel like he provides a little bit more value to this team than a Colin Johnson, who's a 6'4" wide receiver. And he's basically another Kenny Galladay that can occasionally play special teams. So I would bet on Slayton right now, not to make too many predictions.
Also, it looks like I don't want to speak too soon, but so far it looks like this offense is going to rely heavily on speed, which is what Slayton has. Speed and agility, at least. That's what kind of like most of the routes they were running look like to me. I would hope that they do, and of course, I have faith that they are still going to involve our most expensive wide receiver. But it looks like they're gearing it towards Wandale and Tony's skill set more. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you could even see that Wandale and Kadarius Tony were in the backfield for a wildcat rep. Wandale obviously having a great camp so far. Same thing with Kadarius Tony, except for the other day, he was sitting out, probably just a maintenance thing. And also to speak to the whole Kenny Galladay thing, this offense isn't necessarily fit for his type, but also you see him getting in there in some camp practices. But not just the speedy wide receivers, not just Richie James, who's also been in there on a ton of reps in the slot as well. But the guys like David Sills and CJ Board, they're getting 1 reps. Darius Slayton, he's not necessarily got the speedy skill set of a Richie James, of a Wandale, of a Kadarius Tony, a shifty type of guy, a really good route runner, but he's been getting in there. So what I make of that is obviously it's going to be around the shifty wide receivers, the really speedy ones, but they are keeping a note on who can be at the back end.
For sure. I mean, it was mostly those second and third string wide receivers that we saw today, because unless you count Wandale, but they were getting to shine. Which kind of leads us. Let's talk about Adoree Jackson a little bit. 2 picks today. Both of them kind of look like they could have been pick sixes, especially the last one. I think the first one he kind of undercut Tony, so it was just like a really good play on him, and the second one was more so like a bad throw on Daniel. What'd you think about not only the picks but just his overall performance today?
Yeah, Dory played really well, and um, once again, you got to have that vision on that it's just camp. But he had a really good day, and he needs to stay healthy this season. I think we all know that. But he had a really good day. 2 interceptions, maybe a couple of pass breakups in there as well. Um, he looked good. He looked good overall. Maybe once or twice beat by Tony downfield, but he looked good. I'm really impressed by him, and overall, I'm just excited for this defense this year.
You're excited. It's funny to hear you say that because I feel like the last couple people I've spoken to, they were kind of worried about the defense this year, especially because of that secondary. And we know, at least from Wink's tendencies in the past years in Baltimore, that he does like the blitz. He likes to leave his corners on an island, and that's where just our top 3 corners starting. The one that's going to be on the other side and that starting slot is going to be real important that they could hold their own on the islands. What's your confidence level with them right now? Because right now it's slated to be Jackson, Robinson, and Holmes.
Yeah, Robinson's had an up and down camp. Obviously, he's gotten more of a role now that James Bradbury is gone, which is more expected that he will struggle at times. Daniel and maybe Tyrod will look for him a little bit more because they like to pick on the corner too. I thought he's held up well the last couple of times I've seen him, and the last couple of times I've just been watching the camp highlights and all that stuff. Um, but my main concern isn't necessarily towards the 2 starting corners; it's really towards the depth. Obviously, you got Darnay. He's had a great camp so far, but he's also gotten beaten in the slot a couple of times, which may be his worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Cordell Flott, not too many noticeable plays by him. Maybe one hold today, But with that being said, that's actually good that you're not noticing a corner's play unless it's fantastic. Michael Jacquet kind of had a weird day today. He had a couple of nice pass breakups, but he also held a couple of times. Same thing could be said for Darius Williams. So the depth, in my opinion, is going to worry me a little bit about this, position. I thought Maurice Kennedy, who was cut a couple of days ago, was going to make this roster. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. Jaron Williams was waived. So it's going to be
And on the bright
survival.
side, with the depth, if you're worried, we did see them flex Julian Love back into the slot role at least
Yes.
once today.
Yeah, that's definitely something as well with this defense, having guys that play multiple positions. Andrew Adams was playing safety for the first team, and there was a lot of three safety looks. Could be two safety as well because they move slot in the slot. Julian Love in the slot cornerback. So, for instance, if Darnay does not get it done, or he's covering one side of the slot on one side of the field, maybe Julian Love switches over there, or it's Cordell Flott. Um, but obviously, that was one of the things this offseason is getting versatile but young players for Joe Shane. Overall, though, I am a little concerned about this corner depth, and it's only going to tell as we go deeper into the preseason and in the summer.
Mm-hmm. First off, shout out to Jon Snow Targaryen. He says, accidentally hit the dislike, my bad. I switched it back to the like. Keep up the good content. I appreciate it, man. And shout out to Tudo stopping by as usual for the $5 super chat. He says, massive salute to Kush and Alex. Drop by the office to pay the proper respects and slap all Eagles out the door. Forget about it. Coming in with that usual Eagles fire there. You know, I want to see you start saying that about the Cowboys and the Commanders as well, Tudo. We got to get all three of the enemies in the NFC East. Jay said Wink doesn't care. He's going to have whoever is on an island. Could be great, but it could also bite us. And that's why I've seen some people worry because even Baltimore fans had this concern. And Wink was, let's not forget now, going into last season ranked as the second best defensive coordinator in the league. So it's not like he's a slouch. But even Baltimore fans had their concerns when he was there as their defensive coordinator, saying that no matter what, they were injured to like their fourth string guys on the secondary last year, and he still was doing the blitzes, and it did bite them. It did come back and bite them. Before we get, I guess, to the next drill, is there any other things that I probably missed you want to cover from the one-on-ones, wide receivers, DBs?
For the wide receivers and DBs, not really. I think we did a good job of covering it all. Some of the grabs by the DBs, but overall, once again, the wide receivers had a good day, and especially ones that need to make the roster or at least are vying for a spot.
Yeah. I guess there is one thing which sort of leads into the next one, which was that on basically every single one of those throws, like there was one time Alex and I counted like 3 to 4 straight plays where they should have called sacks, but they didn't. This was kind of a theme all day today. I want to say up until the last 30 minutes of the practice is when the refs started calling sacks. I'm not sure why, but if they were actually calling sacks, a lot of these throws don't happen. A lot of these catches don't happen. It's really more of a blight on the second team and the third team offensive line. The first team offensive line did a really good job today, especially with blitz pickups. And I guess, like I said, that leads directly into when we saw the 11 on 11 drills and whatnot. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I remember precisely, and I obviously remembered, and I have it in my notes here. 4 straight plays. Now, one's on the first team, but the rest are on mainly the second team. One of the plays I noticed is Love beat Daniel Bellinger on a blitz from the left side, but Jones got it off in time. Then you move to the second team. Ellerson Smith would have had a sack on one play. Quincy Roche would have had a sack on one play. Yusuf Corker would have had a sack on one play. Now, you will have those times, whether it's just facing Wink's scheme or another scheme, you will have guys come unblocked. It is up to the offensive team to make adjustments. But that can't happen. And
That was 3 straight plays, no adjustments. And it seemed like they just got right through. Like, they just got straight through the line. And once again, guys, to ease your worries, one of them was on the first team line. For the most part, the first team line was fine. Most of these are on the backups, the second team line.
yeah, last year we went through this whole thing and we were severely worried. I mean, just having guys like Jackson Barton, Jake Burton, Brett Heggie, those guys did not perform well in the preseason. They did not. Overall, the offense didn't, but they were a big part. Why? Because the second and third string quarterbacks were not given time at all. We know Tyrod Taylor is, he has his tendency to get injured. So, God forbid Jones goes down. We don't want Tyrod Taylor already down because of the injuries. And, if Tyrod Taylor gets sacked and he gets pummeled in the preseason. But, it's a little disappointing. And I can't say it's totally Joe Shane's fault at this point. Now, this is just camp. But guys like Max Garcia not holding their weight. Guys like Matt Gano not holding their weight. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be survival of the fittest. But if this is a telling tale going into the preseason games and even coming out, they may need to do a lot of action at the waiver wire.
I agree with you. Shout out to Hazelnut in here. He says, "How was camp? I'm going tomorrow." It was a good experience. It was my first ever experience. It was good. I will admit I was a little underwhelmed because I told Alex this. I was like, I thought it would be longer, but it's a 2-hour practice. Not sure why I thought it would be longer than 2 hours. Maybe I just had something in my mind. It would be like 3 or 4 hours. Um, in addition to that, like this is just kind of not necessarily with camp, but the amenities. I was like, they had like one single food truck thing. I was like, that's all y'all got, bro? $1 billion corporation, just a premium hot dog stand. But yeah, no, that's really about it. It was a good experience though. I was actually really surprised that we got a nice breeze in. I was worried about the heat because in the New York area it's been real hot this summer. I was expecting the same in Jersey. The sun was out there, but we got a nice breeze, man. Shout out to Ligma in here and Danny. That's a funny name, Danny Duds in here as well. Sober Party says, worry about the change from cover corners to man corners that need to tackle in space in this scheme. I'm guessing he's asking, do we worry about it? What about you, Alex?
Worrying about it, I mean, I know Aaron Robinson can tackle, Dory can tackle. Darnay Holmes, I'm worried. Cordell Flott, I'm worried. Rodarius Williams, a little bit. Rodarius Williams obviously coming off the injury, but he looks good. Cordell, I mean, he made a lot of nice plays in the running game and overall tackling in college, but he's also very skinny. He needs to add some weight to him in terms of the muscle mass. And Darnay's just a smaller guy. Kind of a similar issue I had with Isaac Yiadom when he was here. Not very good with tackling. And in a scheme where there's going to be, blitzes almost every single down, you kind of need to tackle, especially in a league where it's not just, separation, where it's, based on the Jason Garrett offense or something like that. These are speedier receivers. We're going to be facing some real good ones this year, and tackling is very, very important.
Mm-hmm. And we've had our experiences in the past with multiple schemes, multiple coaches of the secondary not doing their tackling. So I'm going to hope that they do a better job this time around. J Dime said that medium Pepsi, though. Well, we have Pepsi bottles. Luckily, we didn't have to choose a size. It was just regular old bottled soda, man. And I'll see if they do something else for Fan Appreciation Day, if there is a Fan Appreciation Day this year during the regular season. Getting back to the actual 11 on 11 drills, though, this was where Daniel Jones kind of shined. I'm going to kind of give what some people can take as a hating opinion, but I'm not. I can't believe I got to say this. I'm not a Daniel Jones hater. I try to be as objective as possible. In fact, at one point, a lot of people call me a Daniel Jones homer. We're not going to get into that. But he had a good camp today. The reason I'm saying that this could be viewed as hating is because I saw a lot of beat reporters like saying that he had an amazing camp, he had a great camp, he was tearing it up. And I know I'm kind of nitpicking on the verbiage that they're using, on the language that they're using, but like when somebody says a quarterback had a great camp or they said that he was tearing it up, I'm kind of envisioning something a little bit more exciting. Daniel he did his job today. He connected on throws that he was supposed to connect to. I know that he had a great efficient practice today, but it's not like they were terribly difficult throws to make, in my opinion, at least. It's not like he was out here threading the needle on every single throw. There was a couple where he had to do that. And I really did want to see us, attack the big throw a little bit more, with the deep field. But it was really kind of end zone drills is what I noticed, and half field drills. They didn't really do a whole like drive from one end zone to another. So he had a really good day. I don't want to put down on him. But I feel like it's either one of two things. Either my expectations for Daniel Jones are a little too high, and that's why I'm not impressed as the way some other people were. Or it's that because of all the hate he gets when he does something good, I feel like Giants fans and media overhype it, if that makes any sense. Do you feel where I'm coming from a little bit here, Alex, or no?
Yeah, I don't think he tore it up today. Probably his most efficient practice. I could be wrong there. Nothing too spectacular. He did make a couple of nice throws. Nothing too spectacular.
Hmm.
Um, but we're gonna have to see this a little bit more. We're gonna have to see more progression in this offense, whether it's camp, preseason, whatever. Um, as I said, I've been a Daniel fan. Um, I've kind of, in my opinion, accepted that he may not be the quarterback of the future. Doesn't mean I don't root for him. I just don't think he lit it up today, as tore it up today, as some people said. But he had a nice day today, and I would just like to see that moving forward. And there are going to be inconsistencies, but I just don't think he tore it up today. I
Yeah,
don't think.
and the reason I'm bringing this up is because where we get most of our information and fans get most of their information is from other fans that are there at the practice, and obviously from the beat reporters and the media. And those type of like verbiage that I was just describing that you used as well, tore it up, had a great practice. That's what they used to describe him today, and it makes me think back to previous practices and even previous years when they're talking about a player that tore it up. I'm like, did they mean they had a great practice like what Daniel just had, which wasn't necessarily a great practice? It was just a good one, an efficient one, or like did they actually have a great practice? Like it made me go back in my own mind and think, and I'm like, all right, are they overhyping him because he's Daniel Jones to kind of balance out the hate, or is this what they consider a great practice? Like I said, it's kind of weird. Well, we're gonna move past that a little bit. Like you said, I think it was probably his most efficient practice thus far, and definitely a bounce back from however bad he was yesterday. And it makes me think about that as well. How bad truly was he yesterday? Were they kind of adding on a little extra to how terrible it was? And like it just makes me say to myself, every fan, at least shout out to the Giants for keeping it free. I don't know if every team keeps it free. Should just try to go to a training camp at least once to see with your own eyes and judge for yourself how good or how bad a player is performing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, I would just put it as a solid practice.
Yeah.
Nothing too special. He threw 2 interceptions, but he also threw 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty much that solid practice. Need to see
Mm-hmm.
more.
Soul Party says, right on. And then Danny Dudd said, did you get hit by a Daniel Jones pass? That was funny. I think that was a Wes Steinberg thing
That was a West
that
Steinberg.
that got another media company fooled. J Dime says, is it just me or Aaron Robinson has been decent in coverage, but the wide receivers have just made great catches? What do you think?
He's been now. Here's the thing that's with Aaron Robinson. They've been matching up him with taller receivers, and I think that's actually on purpose because even though Aaron Robinson sometimes tends to struggle with that, Adoree is a quicker corner. We've obviously when he came over to the Giants last year, we're talking about he stood up well against Tyreek Hill. That's why you see him facing guys like Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson when it's time for that. But Aaron Robinson is getting reps against the big guys, the guys who are the 50-50 ball guys: C.J. Board, Colin Johnson, David Stills, Kenny Galladay. Um, the first time I went, he did allow a couple of catches, but he's gotten better at that. And I think throwing to him more, whether it's a bad result or a good result, I think it's going to help him because he will be picked on this season, no matter what. Adoree may not be the lockdown corner he was last year. However, Aaron Robinson is going to be facing his first full season in the NFL. It's not going to be an easy path playing man coverage probably 100% of the time.
And he's gone from being a rotational guy to now being an official starter as well. Going from your
Correct.
first full season to now you're kind of thrown into the fire. But what notes do you got on the 11-11 practices there, man? Go ahead and get into them.
Yeah, so I'm going to go all the way to my first page because I happen to take a lot of notes. Richie James, again, burning dudes. Jihad Ward got into the backfield on one of the first plays. Would have sacked DJ, but a nice throw on a slant to Wan'Dale Robinson. The rookie out of UNC, Marcus McKeithen, was getting some reps at right tackle, so that's good for versatility. He can also play center a little bit. Ben Bredesen was playing center. That's something I also brought up earlier. Joshua Zudu, the third-round pick out of UNC, was playing some left tackle in addition to his home spot of left guard. Zimenez would have had a sack on Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor threw a slant on that specific play. Matt Gano was taking reps as the second team right tackle and the third team right guard. So once again, the versatility kicks in. Roche was in the backfield a couple of times, and Roche actually caused a Tyrod Taylor throw. You probably remember it, Kush, that was into triple coverage.
Yep.
So that wasn't a very good throw, but also Ellerson Smith would have had a sack on a Davis Webb quick pass, talking about Joshua Zudu. On and off day for Michael Jacquet, talk about that. Nico Lalos would have had a sack on Davis Webb, again, third team. Between the threads catch to Alex Bachman. He had a nice day today. I don't think we talked about him too much. Alex Bachman had a really
He had
nice
like a
day.
quiet, nice day, if that makes any sense, because it was good. But yeah, you're right. Name didn't really pop in my mind again.
Yeah. Carter Coughlin was in the backfield. Once again, we talked about Adoree. David Sills, talked about him. Talked about the, 3 sacks in a row. Colin Johnson, again, nice day. Beat Darren Evans on a 9 route. Slayton, nice catch. Also, that was on a bad snap from Jamil Douglas with the second team. He was practicing with the second team as their center, so he's not really doing good this camp, and he's probably going to end up being cut. Robert Foster was injured, as many people took note. He was trying to get a ball from Tyrod Taylor down the sideline. I guess something happened with his back as he hit the ground. Shouts to him. Hope he's doing well. Hopefully
Yeah,
he recovers
he
quickly.
took quite a while to get back up. I was keeping my eye on him. They were already moving on with the next thing in the drill, and I'm like, he's still like all the way back there, not up yet.
Yeah, shout out to Adoree Jackson. He's the one who called over the training squad to make sure that Robert Foster was okay.
And I think the cart had to come out for him, right?
Yeah, the card had to come out for him. Darian Beavers got in the backfield on Tyrod Taylor. Nico Lalos and Zion Gilbert, or could be Trenton Thompson because they have the same number, got sacks on Davis Webb. What would be Tamon Fox also got in the backfield on Davis Webb. So that really shows you how bad the third team line was. Wandale Robinson at one point was taking reps at running back. 3 safety looks with slot with Julian Love in the slot. Sometimes Andrew Adams. Richie James had a nice touchdown from Daniel Jones on a slant. Blake Martinez was getting some extra reps with the 2s. Thought that is worth noting. Carter Coughlin, once again, would be sack on Tyrod Taylor. Pass interference that got the offense downfield, the second team. Pass interference on Khalil Dorsey. Quincy Roche was in the backfield on that throw. Khalil Dorsey again in the backfield on a deep attempt to Alex Bachman. A lot of quick throws to Austin Prell. He's that type of speed receiver. He's not a 50-50 ball guy. He's not a Slayton guy. He's more of a quick slot guy. Also, Gavin Heslop found his way into the backfield on a blitz. Keelan Doss also had a pretty nice day, number 5 on the offense. Caught a touchdown on a PI penalty that was, I believe, near us. Dory pick on the second slant. Ellerson Smith would have been a sack in the red zone. I think that's when they started calling him. And then one of the final throws to finish off practice from the second team was a Chris Myrick touchdown at the back of the end zone. They called it incomplete originally, but he got the knee down, and that was a touchdown. So that pretty much wraps it up for my notes.
Yeah, and then obviously towards the end, there was a great Saquon catch thrown by Daniel.
Yep.
Towards the end, with the first team, ended off with a David Sills touchdown. To basically end the entire practice. I believe that was like the last thing that happened. A lot of notes there, like you said, brought up a guy that did have a good day as well, that was quiet. I'm trying to think in my mind if I am missing anybody either on the offense or defensive side of the ball. With the offensive line, we mentioned the struggles with the second and third team. Good thing is that, like you mentioned, our 2 rookies, they're kind of versatile, especially Josh Zidu, so they're using him in multiple places. Of course, keep in mind, Matt Pert is still injured, so whenever Pert comes back, we get what I think is going to be a really, really good backup tackle. So that takes away a little bit of my worries on the backup side as well. Let me see. I think we covered everything specifically from training camp. Eli showed up at the end, and I didn't even realize it was Eli. Like, he showed up at the end of practice after they stretched and they huddled up, and he was breaking it down, and I was actually like so confused. I'm like, who is that middle-aged dude in a blue polo shirt out there talking to the Giants, and I wasn't the only one. There was two dudes behind me also asking like, "Who is that out there?" They're not to be Eli, so it's always nice to have him back on the field or in the building. That was pretty cool to see as well. Um, yeah, I think that would be about it. I saw didn't really see much of Wink today. Saw more so of Dayball and Bobby Johnson, and there was like a weird period of time too where Bobby was just out there kneeling with the offensive lineman. I'm not sure what the point of that was. If he was coaching them up or if he was somehow coaching with the defensive line. That was kind of interesting as well. Anything else before we bring on Taj here and potentially any other callers?
Yeah, nothing else. It was if you asked me based on first team, I would say the offense won, but the fact that the defense got in the backfield so many times with the twos and threes, I'm gonna have to say the defense won today,
Yeah,
and
I would agree.
that shouldn't be a total negative towards Daniel Jones in the offense. It should be directed towards okay, the depth, the offensive line has to play better because again, Joe Shane brought in Max Garcia, Jamil Douglas, a lot of these other guys. They're not doing the job.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you 100%, man. I'm definitely keeping my eye or a different eye on the depth of the offensive line now. Shout out to Cody, man. What's up? Hazelnut says, "What position group signed autographs today?" I don't know. I didn't even get to go and look. That was like afterwards. I
Well,
wouldn't even have
it's
gotten a
mainly a
chance.
kids thing.
Yeah, I was about to say I wouldn't even gotten a chance. You need a kid to get in there to meet the players, unfortunately, which I hope
Yeah.
is a rule that changes. They probably don't even know the gravity of the situation they're in, man. We should be the ones meeting these players. So Party says, how did the 6'9", 400-pounder do? Who's 6'9", 400 pounds on our team?
Austin Allen, is that it? I mean, I don't
He's
think
not
he's
400
400
pounds.
pounds. It's not 400 pounds. He's 6'9". Um, 6'9", 400 pounds. It has to be one of the D linemen or maybe O linemen.
And
But
then another question was, how did Roy Mbateka do? I didn't really see
uh,
him too much.
I mean, he was the left tackle for the third team. I didn't watch him individually. He was number 61. It's kind of a telling tale, and I'm not trying to pin this on him because I wasn't specifically watching. But once again, there was a lot of guys coming into the backfield from both sides, left tackle and right tackle. Kind of has to tell you something.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see. Yes, I can definitely tell that you really hated when the Giants drafted Daniel Jones, Mr. Danny Duds. Let me just pin this comment here for the link for anybody to call in. And then Taj, what's up, man? How you doing, bro?
What's up, Taj?
Oh, what's good, y'all, man? What's good, Hub, Alex?
What's
What
up,
up,
man?
man?
Yeah. Um, shoot, I mean, everything that y'all covered up, man. I was gonna say, I mean, like Daniel Jones had a pretty good day. Saquon, had another good day. Like he was running good out there, and in the defense, also made some plays too, which is something, that I want to happen as well. Is the defense making plays like not just like Daniel Jones in the offense, just tearing it up out there because like. Cause basically, like if that happens most of the time, then we will basically be thinking that the defense might be trash this year. So I just wanted to have a balance and stuff. And I'm not really gonna like just look deep into the completion percentage, the interceptions, the touchdowns, and all that. Like no matter if DJ has a good day or a bad day, like at the end of the day, it's just practice to me. So yeah.
Yeah, you want to go first, Alex? You go ahead and I'll go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I know everybody's going to be, there are some people that do keep completion percentage and like what he's done in practice. I think he was 9 for something today with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I necessarily don't keep track of that. What I keep track of is what I see with my eyeballs. And did he tear it up today, as we discussed earlier? No, he did not. But he also had a solid practice and probably his most efficient practice, at least when I was there. And I know he's thrown an interception pretty much every day, at least from what I know, at training camp. But it just seemed like today was his most efficient practice. And today is probably the most you heard about Daniel Jones having a good day at practice.
It was his
Yeah,
best day so far in practice.
yeah. I was just gonna say to add on to kind of what you were saying, Taj. It's just practice at the end of the day. I would agree with you up to a certain point. Like the closer and closer we get to the season is kind of like the more and more I'm gonna be looking at it more seriously.
Yeah,
Like when preseason rolls around, for example, and we're not gonna get too much of a chance to look at the starters, unfortunately. Probably we're gonna go back to a regular preseason formula, and not that weird one that Joe Judge had last year. Because the
yeah. He
regular
didn't even play
preseason formula,
starters last year,
yeah,
and
with
had that little that extra shit.
and that should have been our first sign that something's wrong with that team last year. But if we're going back
Yeah.
to a regular formula, it's gonna be what during the third game when we see the starters, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, it depends. I would have to actually look and see what Buffalo did last year. Not that they're going to take everything from Buffalo and Kansas City, but some teams play their first. Some teams play their primary squad. It's really weird now with the 3 game preseason, because sometimes they'll play their ones just for like a drive or two in the first week, get it out all out in the third week. Sometimes they'll get it out all in the second week. It's gonna be weird. Um, it was just weird last year, and I'm I want to see what they do this year in terms of mixing it up.
Mm-hmm. Now I was just gonna say whenever we do see them, like in the preseason is probably gonna be the best shot we're gonna get. Obviously, before the regular season starts to see where they are. So up to a certain point, I'm with you there, Taj. At the end of the day, is just practice.
Yeah,
Anything you had
and
when it came to the
DJ.
wide receivers versus DBs or any other position?
Um, the wide receivers, I thought they did. For what I've heard, I thought they did pretty good. Kenny Galladay, we all know he wasn't there in practice for today. David Sills was out there. Like David Sills was out there stepping up for him, and he did pretty good out there, making good catches here and there, and missing touchdowns. Uh, and Adoree Jackson, we all know he had a good day with I think he had like 2 interceptions from DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one would have been a pick six, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Saquon, I think, had to work all the way down the field to
Yeah, for the second
technically.
one, which definitely looked like a pick six, man. Adoree was gone unless Saquon chased him down, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I think Adoree Jackson, like he's gonna be our corner, our CB1, and I think he'll do pretty good for us there. And for the other corners, Aaron Robinson, like it's gonna be his first full season um in his young career, so we gonna see what's up there. And Darius Slayton, yeah, Darius Slayton finally making some catches.
Yeah,
And
he had. I don't know because I obviously haven't been the other days, but it seemed like his best practice today, man. He had a really good day.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah, hopefully he can keep that up, man. Like because because we all know that we have like our feelings about Darius Slayton, like especially him dropping that ball versus Washington. So hopefully he'll keep that consistency up there.
Yeah. I'll say this though, somebody on kind of on the opposite spectrum, I was surprised Slayton had such a good day. I was kind of surprised that Terod had what in my opinion was a bad day. We spoke about him throwing into the triple coverage earlier, and it could be because of the line, but like looking at like the balls that he was throwing, some of them look underpowered, some of them look underthrown, kind of sluggish. I was just like, is he having an off day? Is it the offensive line thing, or is he just like this is him now? That just on the opposite spectrum. That's what I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's pretty much what was it for today's practice and training camp. Like pretty much a good day, mostly for the offense. You know, and the defense. Like I didn't think that the defense also didn't do bad there. I mean, they also I thought they also did almost just as good as their offense too. I mean, yeah, it was a pretty good practice on both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything else? Even from you, Alex?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Taj, anything, my boy? It don't even gotta
Uh,
be Giants related. I don't even see anybody else calling in. That's fine, cause I know there's a couple of big streams going on simultaneously right now too. And sober party, to answer your question, were the picks deep balls or to the flats? They were all like in the end zone area.
yeah, yeah,
Slants.
yeah. They were all in the end zone, third and long stuff.
Yeah, they were mostly on slants from what I saw, which is not the first time. So
Slants. I mean, but yeah, that's all I got, man. Uh, yeah.
Were you there today, Taj, or you just caught the highlights or something?
Now I caught the highlights
You
on
gonna be
Twitter
there?
and
Are you
stuff.
in the MetLife area?
Oh no, no, I'm far away from that.
Okay, heard you. Heard. All right, then. Hey, man. Yeah, you could go ahead and call in tomorrow. The link is pinned. I could repost it if you need it, but it's pinned in the chat. Here it is once again. Yeah, it's not an arm strength issue, Namar. Sober party. The first one was, I think, a really good play by Adoree. Low key, Daniel stayed in the pocket a little too long, but Adoree undercut Kadarius, and that's how he got the pick. And the second one was bad judgment by Daniel. He just kind of threw it in an area that he should not have thrown it at. But Taj, thank you for calling in, man.
Yes, sir. See ya.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ball just looked quicker out of his hands today.
DJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Sober Party got a question. He says, does the footwork and pocket awareness look any better? From DJ.
Footwork, I can't tell. Pocket awareness, he's getting the ball out quicker. Maybe it's once again something they did today. But as I said, I just noticed that the ball was out quicker.
What up, Namar? How you doing, man?
What's up, guys? What's up, Hub? Alex? What's up, Hub?
Whatever.
Going to training camp with my friend and with my brother's friend. No, not my brother. Sorry, my friend's brother. We're gonna be up there tomorrow.
So, hey, man.
Nice.
Hopefully you guys get some padded practice. That's what we were expecting today, but we didn't get it. They took a little bit of a rest day. Because I hope you guys get some fun tomorrow, man.
Yo, we're hoping that Daniel Jones could do something. Yeah, I'm going up there, but hoping that he has a great day.
Yeah.
Not, I'll be upset.
Y'all carrying a kid with you so you can meet some players or not?
No, I'm like 20, 23, so it's me and my friends. So
Heard you.
yeah.
Maybe pay attention to some of those one-on-ones tomorrow in terms of the linemen. If the pads are going to be on, that's what's going to happen. So
I think it will be lineman, yeah.
yeah.
Already. That works. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that the pads are on tomorrow. If not, but
Got any questions, thoughts, or anything about today, man?
about today, I watched the highlights, and I think that today was awesome. I think DJ didn't do that bad. I think that the offense, I like Daniel Bellinger a lot, and then Wandale Robinson also. I think they did really good. So that's my thinking. I think they did excellent. The catch by Darius Slayton was not bad, but I still don't think he should make the roster.
Well, it depends which one you're talking about. He had a couple, but there was one that it was the Moss one that really impressed me. And the reason it impressed me, I guess I gotta say, is the reason he held on to the ball, and we know he has trouble with that.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I think Darius Slayton was not bad. Saquon was probably one of the best. I watched Saquon's highlight, so he was good.
Yes, they didn't use him too much today. It was not really too much running. I think he got a couple touches in the passing game. But no, Saquon, man, I think if he stays healthy, he's gonna be back to that rookie year form. I really got faith in him coming off this ACL. It's all about staying healthy, though.
Yep, that is true. That is true. That's with most of the players. They got to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I also
Yeah.
think Sterling Shepard, if he could be back week 1, I feel like he could be a big boost to the offense. I don't know his timeline, but
Yeah, maybe they'll get involve Saquon more a little bit tomorrow because of the pads. That's
already.
what's probably like they ran him once today, and it was just like nothing. But
Yeah.
still saw the explosiveness.
Yep.
But it's going to be better once the pads come on, definitely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Are you guys going to any of the second, like, are you guys going to be at tomorrow's training camp or any other?
I will not be able to for tomorrow.
The next
That
one I'm
sucks.
going to be at is next Tuesday.
I'll be there on Monday, so I won't be there on Tuesday. So I have like 2 training camps lined up.
Yeah. Tuesdays are the days that work best for me, man. So this Tuesday next, and hopefully next Tuesday I get some pads as well. But I'll be kind of disappointed if I go again and we're not padded.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anything else you got
yeah.
for me anymore?
Anything else? No. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going, hoping everything is Gucci.
Hey man, try to get as much footage as you can before the 11-on-11 start, and then they say you can't film anymore.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah. Either I'll try to film or I'll make my friend film. One of us will try to film it. I most likely I might make him film because he does a lot of stuff on the Mets and everything, so there's a lot of reporting, so I'll just make him film it and get everything.
Kush, they let people film the one-on-ones between receivers and cornerbacks, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They let us film up until the 11-on-11.
Yeah, that's when the horn blew and they started getting strict.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I guess the 11-on-11 is where they actually have some plays that they may or may not be using come season time. So that's what they're worried about.
Yep. Definitely. Yep.
So, hey, man, Lamar, thank you for calling in, man. I hope you get some pads tomorrow. I hope you get some good catches. And if it's defensive line, man, I hope the offensive line holds up. Maybe you see a little bit of something from Kayvon. Because we had entertainment today since it was the wide receivers, man. Had somebody do a backflip in the end zone after a touchdown catch. That was pretty nice.
Nice. Yeah, I'm hoping that something awesome happens tomorrow. Either like Daniel Bellinger like catches a catch, or, like gets a one-hand catch or something. Like I'm hoping something special happens.
It would be crazy if Daniel Bellinger does that, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping something special happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard also from like some of the people that Mike Kafka might be calling on plays. I don't know if that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Dable's with the headset on, at least today, Kush, right?
Yeah, what it looks like to me, from my observation today, it looks like Kafka is the one sort of designing the offense, because it does look like it's more influenced by KC than Buffalo. That's not to say there is no Buffalo influences at all. And it looks like Dable is the one calling the plays, if that makes sense. It kind of reminds me of how the situation with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid was earlier on when Eric Bieniemy was the offense coordinator. Obviously now Bieniemy calls a good amount of plays, but yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of a little bit.
Yep. That's what I've been hearing about also. Something close to that.
All right, man. Have a good one, bro. Thank you for calling in, my boy.
No problem. Later, guys.
Peace.
And guys, I think, if anybody else wants to call in, go ahead, hit that link. But I think that might be it. Quick, short 1-hour stream. I didn't even realize. I just saw this tweet by the NFL Twitter account. I didn't know the Hall of Fame game is this week.
Yep, that's on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday night, Jacksonville versus Las Vegas. We're going to see, for the first time, not in full capacity, but in some capacity, maybe we'll actually get to see Devontae Adams and Derek Carr reignite their connection from back in the college days. What do you think about this Hall of Fame game, man?
Well, I mean, it's two former head coaches, Peterson and McDaniels. I will actually get to see the Raiders myself week 2 of the preseason in Miami, so that's going to be interesting. But Jacksonville, I mean, I don't expect too many starters to play, but, I expect some of the rookies to play. Maybe see a little bit of Trayvon Walker, Dylan Parham, some of the other guys the Raiders drafted. So it's just the excitement that football's back. Football's back. And then the next day is FanFest.
Yeah, the day after, oh man, I hope that I could get to go. But I have a feeling, man. I just have a bad feeling I won't be able to. Pray for me, guys. But that's gonna be it for tonight, y'all. Thank you all for tuning in. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Like I said, I know it's a shorter one. I know we had a smaller turnout, but I understand there's 2 other streams going on right now at least. And I know Tana got Bobby Skinner on, which is sure to be a entertaining one at the very least. But Alex, thank you so much, man. Not only he provided me with the extra ticket, y'all, because I could not get to the Giants website in time to get my tickets for training camp. And thank you for pulling up with me, man. It was a great experience, bro.
Yeah, I can't wait. Hopefully, your boss is lenient for Friday. And with that being said, next Tuesday is also going to be awesome.
Yeah, hey, don't forget to send me those ones as well, man. I'm going to put them in my Ticketmaster account as soon as they come through. We both will be at next Tuesday's training camp. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out Alex over at Big Blue in the Bronx. Go ahead, plug yourself a little bit, whatever you may have coming up in the next couple days or week or so, and we'll end it out here, man.
Yeah, just a couple of roster bubble series videos. I have 2 more videos coming on the Yankees trade deadline, so expect that tonight. But roster bubble series throughout. We'll be streaming the Pro Football Hall of Fame game on Thursday between the Raiders and the Jags. Just so excited that football's back. Alongside baseball still going on. So a lot of fun stuff happening on the channel. And come join us for the ride.
You heard the man. Make sure you check him out. Please go over there and support the guys. They put on great work there. Yankees, Giants, you got it. That's it for now, guys. We're out. Peace.